Hello, Orville Nation and Nerd TV. Welcome, everybody. We got a great show tonight. Great show. Hello, Alan Cox, Edie Myers, Matt Ryan, Time Prophet. Oh, I did it again. Where is it? Where's my echo? There it goes. I got it. Okay. Let's see. Where were we? Nina Infinity, Edie Myers, Time Prophet. Everybody who's in here. I know I saw Louise Sparrow. I saw Susanna. Lauren Loughlin, welcome everybody. We got a great show tonight. A few surprises. One's from Katie. Yes, we have vintage footage from Katie. So yeah, we got a great show tonight, guys. We have Lauren BANCROFT-WILSON, the VFX supervisor for Dark Matter. Wow. And you know, as we've been talking, guys, as the Dark Matter progresses from the beginning of season 1 and on. And hello, Rapunzel. The VFX just get better and better, and the series gets better and better. So wow, we are so excited to be smack in the middle of season 2. All right, let's bring in ladies first. Let's bring in Katie and alrighty. Katie, our meteorologist, our exo-meteorologist for the Galactic Network. Hello, Katie. How are you?
I'm doing great. It's going to be in the 50s all week with sunshine, so I'm just laid back. The forecast is easy. It's going to be good.
Awesome. Hey, when are we gonna get a Galactic News Network a forecast for those mining colonies and all those planets out there in the Dark Matter universe?
I'm gonna have to work on that for sure. Ooh,
Is it in
I have
the
a
works?
Doctor Who one coming up, so it's on the list. It's one of the top ones on the list, so it'll be happening here eventually.
Okay. So it's on Doctor Who's on the grill right now. Okay.
Right now, yep, we're working on the graphics and getting it all set up, and it's a lot harder than expected.
I imagine. I know. What's going on? I'm sorry, on so many fandoms, and can you put in your channel too, please?
Absolutely, yeah. Although I don't have the wrench yet.
Oh, you seriously don't have it? Can you make a comment? Can you write a comment?
Yeah,
so I can
I'll just put hi. There we go.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I did a podcast it's fine, on Saturday with a couple of my storm chasing buddies. And oh my gosh, we had so much fun talking about the time. So we almost got in trouble, almost got arrested, almost got blown up. Yeah, it's
again.
amazing.
Okay.
Well, you know, but if you guys want to go and check that out, go for it.
We don't want to scare Lauren away. She's a storm chaser, Lauren. She's not. That's why she's getting arrested. She's
yes,
a tornado chasing meteorologist.
That's what you think.
Okay, you do have a wrench right now. You have a wrench now, lady.
Well, thank you so much.
It only took a year and 2 months or something.
To be honest, I haven't even noticed, really.
Okay.
It is bad.
We want to bring in Nina Infinity. Hello, Nina. Welcome.
Hey, what's going on? Hey.
How are you, Nina?
Good. Happy to be here. As always, I love Dark Matter Mondays, so excited. Yay. This was a great episode.
This is a great episode. Wow. Yeah. What's going on Nina Infinity channel?
Well, I do Good Fridays, Good News Fridays on Fridays. So you can come check out some good news on Fridays with me if you're sick of all the bad news. And what day is it today? Monday. On Wednesday, I'll be on John Talks' channel for Infinite Talk. So thank you so much.
Nice.
Awesome. And before we go any further, I do want to point out Matt Ryan's channel. And Matt Ryan is working on a new Dark Matter weapon. I guess he will. I think he used. It was a crew crew gun. He'll tell us more about that soon. And Gap Stargate, if I find his trailer, I will put it up later. And Gap Stargate is in the chat, and he's doing trailers for our chat for our Mondays, and his new channel will be coming up soon, and we're going to interview him as soon as it's ready.
Nice.
So, Dr. Adega Outlaw, there he is in his basement. Thank you for joining us, Doctor.
Hey.
How are you?
I'm doing okay, sitting on paint cans in an empty room, waiting for the van to show up with my goods.
You know that
I do
background
have
looks like a green screen?
Nah, it's the real deal. I do have a fun fact, though, for all you people who give guys a hard time about man caves. Our house had two main selling points. I got to talk with the purchasers. Because it's a big house, lots of things. One was a walk-in handicap-equipped shower that we used for my son. They were using it for his dad, who was sick. The other thing was my steampunk library, which I broadcast from. My wife hated it, and they loved it. That was one of the big selling points. So don't disregard steampunk or man caves.
Adega, no joke. I thought you were in front of a green screen.
Nah, this is the real room. It just needs to be taken care of.
Wow.
Empty. Yeah, you hear. Wait, let's go this way. There, you could see some of the computer parts I was assembling in the dog.
Oh, there's a doggy.
Yep.
And
I believe you
I don't
now.
even have my green glasses, so.
Speaking about dog owners, we have to introduce Baron Destructo. Welcome, Joseph Malazzi.
Yay!
Hello. You know something different about me today?
The shirt is different.
No? I got a new
color
laptop.
headphones?
I got a new laptop.
Oh, no.
Didn't you have that last week?
Sorry?
Awesome.
Did you have that last week?
I don't think so. No.
I can't tell.
Anyways.
That's cool.
Enough about me.
Is
Time
it
to introduce our extra special guest, who I work with on Stargate and Dark Matter. He wrote a couple of episodes. He was a co-exec producer on the show, and he was our visual effects supervisor. And I thought, you know what, there are a lot of really great episodes that we could have brought him in for, but I wanted to bring him in for this because this was actually, upon further review, a spectacular visual effects episode. So without further ado, the lovely and talented LAWREN Bancroft-WILSON.
Yay!
Thank you. Lovely and talented, much appreciated. Thank you. Yeah, no, it's great to be here. I'm impressed already by meeting. I mean, meteorologists I was impressed with, but now to know that you're a wanted felon as well,
Oh,
that's really kind of shocking.
Only in Keystone, South Dakota.
Oh, okay. A lot of storms in Keystone, South Dakota?
No, that's one of the reasons why we got in trouble. We went hiking, and there was a dynamite hill, and apparently we ran up when everyone else ran down, and it was trespassing. Might have gotten caught.
It doesn't show up on Google. It didn't happen.
Exactly. Now, admitting to it on YouTube, on the other hand.
Lauren, I do want to just point out a few things. Looking at your IMDb, Joe mentioned Dark Matter, Stargate, Falling Skies. Wow,
I'm gonna add some more things to it right now. Let's just quickly add my IMDb here.
No.
I'm pretty good.
Yeah.
They're good. They're about 30 minutes now. When I put something up there, they'll shoot it along. Because I used to do all the Stargate ones, and I think I have some sort of like quick pass. So hopefully I didn't put anything up that's a lie.
Okay. I see Scary Movie 5, and I see The Astronauts. Can you tell us a little bit about The Astronauts?
That was the best one, the first one.
Scary Movie 5 was that. Yeah, I remember one of my bosses spent Christmas Day, because they pulled up the release, rotoing, which is tracing out poop out of the rear end of it was the rear end of a deer to put someone's face into it. And he's like, this is what all the years have led to. So Scary Movie 5.
You know
you've
made it.
Oh my
yeah,
gosh.
Christmas Day too.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, and then The Astronauts. That was actually the last show I did before taking some time off to take care of my daughter. So yeah, and that was again back to space. I spent a lot of time in space.
Nice.
I love space.
Yeah.
It's better than being stuck on Earth.
Check out my shirt. It says "You're here," and it's like a It's like the asteroid, the Milky
cool.
Way. It shows where we are. We're in space.
Nice.
Now I was going to say, there's like a handful of productions in Canada that do, produce sort of shows that include visual effects. And every year we have something called the CSAs, which are, I think, our version of the Emmys, kind of a lightweight version of the Emmys. But
they're now everything, because we used to have the Genie Awards, which were the Oscars, and the Geminis, which were the Emmys. And then they thought, you know what, this is just too many awards. Let's make one award show for everything, including web series and everything. And so it just is like one massive award show that goes for like 5 days.
Okay, so just kind of setting the stage. I am not a fan of award shows. I think they're frankly bullshit. I think basically they're just popularity contests. They just basically choose either whoever's connected, or basically if they want to look good, they will pick a certain project or individual.
Whatever actors will show up.
Yeah, and so basically on Stargate, when I took over as showrunner, I never really sent in any of our, unless basically someone on the crew wanted us to nominate them, then I happily would. But otherwise, for like my writing or for the show or anything, I didn't resend anything in, because also those nominations, I think in order to process it, they cost like $200 each. In any case, for the CSAs were out of my hands though on Dark Matter, because that was Jay Firestone's call, and so he would send in stuff for nominations, and I didn't really care, except when it came to visual effects, simply because unlike anything else, I think visual effects, it's very hard to basically it's very hard to basically dismiss great visual effects work. And I don't know, how many years were we not nominated? We did 3 seasons. Were we nominated?
I think 1 year.
We were nominated 1
year. Yeah.
Yeah. So basically the first year I was angry, but I didn't do anything. The second year I was like, I sent an email to the CSAs and I was like, what the fuck is going on? Seriously, I really want you to explain to me, how is it that, how you come up with who the nominees are. And they sent me back this sort of kind of form letter. And then for the 3rd season, we were finally nominated. And I mean, at the end of the day, I'm not saying we should have won, but the fact that we were not nominated for our first 2 seasons just goes to, I got to show you just in general how ridiculous awards are, but specifically the CSAs.
So you didn't watch
I hope I'm not up for any nominations right now, Joe.
Joe, so you didn't watch the Golden Globes last night?
I will not watch the Golden Globes. I do not care. Don't care.
I'm just teasing.
I know over the years now, Joe, I've now more fallen your way. Like, did not even register to watch them yesterday, or yeah, no.
I mean, I don't think it did for many people.
I mean, the red carpet stuff is, I'm sure it's fun because you get to see what, the outrageous outfits that people wear. But then when you get into like the actual awards, it's unless like someone like Ricky Gervais is hosting, in which case basically he will just kind of dismember the industry. Then that's
exactly.
That's kind of
yeah. And I love that, because the reason I stopped watching awards shows is because of the hypocrisy. And I'll only watch if someone rips them to shreds over it. Yeah. So,
Quick question
he's never
for
allowed
Joe.
that.
Yes. Quick question for Joe from Time Prophet, and I think he asked this before. Was the planet location same as the Killjoys filming site?
I've never watched Killjoys, so I cannot answer that question.
Okay.
I don't think so. No. The planet location in this one?
Yeah, in this one.
No. This planet location was. I mean, they could have maybe used it once, but they weren't using it. They didn't use it while they wouldn't be using the first 2 seasons at least. We used this location one other time, I think. We used a piece of the inside of it, but Yeah, where you see the strip mining when they're entering, right? You see the strip mining location aside. Yeah. Yeah, we used this one other time with I just remember it was who was it? No, really tall director, leather jacket, Steven.
Oh, Steve DeMarco.
Yeah. We used it one other time with him. I remember that was it.
Oh.
But
Speaking of directors, this was Andy Makita directed this episode, and he was an old Stargate director who came in and did Dark Matter. He worked in season 1, but he also did this episode, season 2, and there are just so many amazing shots in this episode. Like, we're talking about this location, that wide shot of Ennis and Melissa coming in, Melissa in that beautiful leather coat that Noreen, our costume designer, made for her, and we were like, we got to find a way for her to keep this because it's such an amazing coat. And so basically, at the end, two ends up. We have a little exchange where two's like, "Well, I'm keeping your jacket."
Yeah, that was funny.
And then there's that one of my favorite shots is the one where Tori, as Truffaut, double crosses our crew. They open they gain access to the terrazzo, and the doors open, and she does that kind of strut towards camera that is just really, I think, emblematic of the character. Yeah. But
that was a great shot, and then you guys did like a kind of like an homage to MIB with the whole like the flash thing, and then she had the cool eye shield. Yeah, the eye shield. That was cool. That was cool.
That just reminded me actually that she was so good at that, because Tori, there's a couple of different things with visual effects where she's like, okay, so what is going to happen? And you sort of explain it the best you can. She's like, okay, and then she commits 100%, and you're like, it makes it so it just seems seamless, because she the whole thing there with the hollow things, hollow maps on other episodes, she just commits so well to it that it's amazing.
Mm-hmm. One thing I really appreciate about that scene too is most times when you see a similar type scene, they do it for 2-3 seconds. This one extended, and it really was more impactful because you carried it on for a few more seconds. I noticed that, and I'm going, that is really cool. Really appreciate it.
Which one? Yeah, for this one right here.
No. When oh gosh, my name just slipped me, and I'm trying to keep the noise down. You were just talking about her. Truffaut, when she was walking onto the ship at the double cross, she was coming down the hallway with, and it was a longer drawn out scene where you could really say, "Yeah, I am bad," and you just let it go, and that was really cool.
Andy,
I miss those hallways.
But can you bring up that PJ, the scene that you just had up?
Yeah,
this was the one of the scenes near the very end where Tu and Portia have kind of an exchange, and then the androids have an exchange. So I remember, the scene was like planned, prepped and planned, and we end up, we didn't have the proper equipment. Like, what was the issue?
Well,
you remember?
Yeah. So when you want to do a lot of twinning or anything, you have to use what's called a repeatable head, or it's a remote kind of camera on a dolly and everything, so that you can do a move that's programmed in, and then you basically can do it again, and it's exactly the same, so that you can stitch different takes together, and it's always kind of in the same place. It's it's a staple of doing any sort of twinning that what this is, and it's tough to get those because, well, one, they're expensive, two, they take a lot of time to do, but but also there's not a ton of them, and they're sought after. Especially, we were shooting at the same time as Orphan Black and other companies, other shows that use them quite a bit. So we use a different vendor, and you have the camera that does this whole move and everything, and then you have what's called you have sort of your playback device that is able to not only show you what your current take is, but it's able to overlay it, and you can see it with your other takes. So you can basically see all the takes stacked together to make sure everything lines up. And we got the camera part of it, but not the viewer. So we essentially were just doing it blind. And it was...
Because someone forgot to order it.
Oh no.
Uh-oh.
Oh.
So it was, I remember we were counting 1,000, 2 1,000. Okay, now 1, 2, 3 1,000. The most imprecise thing, but it ended up working out pretty well. And then I'm trying to remember who was it. It Erica, the VFX comper that ended up taking it on had to do a lot of backflipping and amazing work to kind of take. Usually, if all you're really doing is rotoing, removing and replacing people because the background and everything's the same, but this required rotoing people and then projecting them onto 3D cards and then having them. So it became quite a bit more complex. But yeah, it was an ambitious. I mean, man, Andy, whenever he picks shots, it's like he picks the most ambitious way to do it too. So that's kind of the nice thing, is that he's always like, you're never going in being like, oh, we can just do what we did last time. It's like, oh, okay, this is an entirely new way we have to try to figure out how to do this. So.
Lauren, how was before we get into the episode? Because what was it like the progression of working from season 1 to season 3 in your role as VFX supervisor? How did it evolve? How did your role evolve?
Well, I started off working. I was working with a company out of Vancouver. I had been working with them after we finished Stargate and some other stuff before that. And then when this show came up, and then Joe called me up, and I was like, of course, let's do this. Where is it? Toronto, I'm in. But it started off with me sort of working in tandem with them, that they were sort of doing it and I was sort of their person on the ground. But then it sort of became more of evolved to where I kind of became more just production side in season 2, and they were a vendor, but I was able to use a lot of other vendors. And to be honest, I just know so many amazingly talented artists now who, some of them have opened their own shops, some freelance or micro vendors, or they've grouped together to be sort of 5 artists. So you kind of have a lot of different sizes and talents subsets that you can try to find. You don't just take a whole pot of shots and dump it at one place and be like, good luck. You actually kind of pick the shots and you find the best place for them, the best artists, the best creative people to sort of execute each one. And so that's what really sort of grew. And that's actually that was what grew from season 1 to season 3, kind of a more defined version of that. And that's basically what my entire career is based on now, is really just, whatever show I'm on is it's not sort of just looking at everything in one go or sort of just one large vendor to do everything. It's really about sort of picking the right vendors, do the right shots, and sort of getting the most of everyone that way. Because I mean, I think you can see the progression of how good everything got, as it went on. It started being that if someone was really good, and I mean, like, being good at something doesn't necessarily mean that you wanted to do it. So poor Erica, we have some arcing. Arcing is like, electrical arcing and all that stuff. And it's like, she became the go-to electrical arcer. And I mean, she couldn't help it. She was just really, really, really good at it. And so we'd give her the arcing stuff, and it was like, it would be miles ahead of what anyone else could do. And so it just became that much better. And she got a great process for it. I mean, like, I think it leveraged it into like, other shows for arcing, but, again, on top of that, she do a million other things, but it just sort of was great that you could kind of find someone who could do something really well, and then sort of leverage that by saying, okay, well, you know what, fill your boots. You're gonna be the person that does different types of weapons. We did a lot of weapon R&Ds on this show. Erica again was 1618, and Suburbs did a bunch of those, which were just they just play with particles and everything and see what they could do. So they kind of really got something rather than someone plugging in what they did in another show. I kind of knew that they'd be creating something, unique and new to it.
Wow. And really quick question from Time Profit: would it be quicker to use a green screen on this one shot?
So when if you're doing twinning and stuff like that, you can do it 2 ways. You can do either the old-fashioned way, not the old-fashioned, where you're shooting people in a real location and you're doing the roto and everything. What you get then is at least fidelity, like everything is real that you're shooting and nothing is fake, or nothing's CG. So you're basically just cutting and pasting stuff on top of each other. Tricky thing with that is eye lines and everything. If you shoot it with green screen, you can now move people around. You can slide them in case the eye line's not right and stuff like that. But then then you're either doing you have to have a remote camera that got the background that's doing the same thing, which you can do sometimes, or you're normally creating the CG background. And that's typically like, on larger features, you're going to be doing that. But then you're building a full CG background, and just the time cost of all that to do it doesn't always usually work in TV. TV is different now because sometimes you have 2 years to do an episode. But yeah, green screen is just it's a higher starting cost point. And you have to work a lot harder to get that kind of really good photorealism for it. But it lets you do a lot more stuff. And it's usually with full CG backgrounds where people do that.
Nice.
That's really interesting stuff. No idea about. Okay.
I got a couple things in here still bouncing around.
Yeah, we talk about you like every episode, Lauren. Like your name comes up all the time.
Yeah,
Wistfully,
do you sneeze a lot? Because we talk about you all the time, so I feel like you're probably sneezing all the time.
Are you kidding me? I have this problem with sneezing lately. I can't stop. I thought it was there. Wow.
I mean, you guys mentioned Nina mentioned this shot right here. How did you do the eyes?
I think this one was Suburbs. They basically put I think this was like CG. I think there was an HDRI there, so you get a bit of reflection in it. But yeah, it was just sort of these CG little balls that they just revealed, roto the eyes, and then animated them on and animated them off. Yeah, I mean, I have to say, like the effect itself, not complex, but the committing by Tori to it is kind of what just like you just totally feel it's real, because she just I was actually really amazed when she did it, because she just kind of got exactly what it was. Like, yeah, okay, I got it. Eye shield. She's been doing sci-fi for so long. She's like, yeah, you want me to do the eye shield thing? I'll do the eye shield thing.
Oh my god, that's hilarious.
That's awesome. And Storyman Jack, thank you for hail to Lauren and Joe and everybody on the panel. Hail, Storyman. Thank you for the
Storyman.
For the $2. Thank you, Storyman. Storyman, please go ahead and put in your channel with your.
I really, really love this episode. I mean, obviously, we talk about how Katie is kind of, just watching it as we go along. Katie, how did you feel about seeing all these returning characters? I know we have a video.
Yes.
And maybe we could start. We could start Katie's answer with that.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Katie.
Yeah, no, everyone, last week, a couple of people were like, hey, you should record your reaction to next week's episode. So, yeah, I sent the reaction over, and now you can see why my neighbors probably don't like me, because I will just randomly start shouting at like 11 in the morning. Oh, gosh. Oh, I love it. No, I love this episode. Seeing Jace Corso come back was great, but then I saw the blonde girl and toothpick guy. I was just like, oh gosh, not again. That's why you'll see me at the beginning. Oh, not these guys.
I know.
Yeah, Wexler. I remember when I saw him, I was like, no, Wexler, like, because I liked him as an evil guy. I thought he was great. And then I was actually surprised to see one. I was like, oh, I can't believe they brought him back.
For a second, like when I saw the second Roz, I was like, okay, mirror universe, or alternate universe. This could maybe bring back one, because sci-fi, no one's really dead, as I found out. So when he showed up, I was like, oh, I loved it.
More dead people came back. It was funny.
It was amazing.
Now
we're gonna play this one. We're gonna play this 1 second so we can see, because Katie did film her reaction. We're all curious to see somebody who's been watching it for the first time. So I'm gonna.
Oh, there's no audio.
Oh no, you need the audio. ADR it. Do your own audio right now.
I can provide it. I knew it.
See here, twinning. I already got what's wrong. You're using the wrong hand. No, you got to use the other hand.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. There we are.
There you go.
Yeah.
Oh, but yeah.
I knew it.
Oh,
that's funny. That's funny. I have a question, Joe.
Mm-hmm.
So when 3 and Portia, I guess Marcus Boone and Portia were in a relationship in the other thing, and then he was like also kind of like sleeping with Tash, I guess, at the same time. Was that like a futuristic kind of relationship where they're like open to that, or was he like double, like he was like sleeping behind her? He was sleeping on her
with her behind her back.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's why basically it looks so
Right.
secretive. Where basically
It was secretive. Okay. Yeah,
only
that's
have 20
what I
minutes.
thought.
20 minutes. Yep.
Yeah.
That's what I figured. I was like, is he cheating on her? Or is this some sort of weird, I don't know, sci-fi alternate dimension?
Jessica Sipos plays Tash and is amazing, and did such a great job in that like first fight sequence with 2 back in season 1, and 2's like, oh, do we have to do this again? And they do it again, and it's equally great.
It was great, and I also love that scene where she like slaps Marcus as they're kind of
that
like,
felt violent.
That headbutt looks real. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Like I know it's like
she's
totally.
a headbutter though. She's a violent. That's no.
Oh my gosh, I knew like. Okay, she's not actually making contact, but good heavens, that still like hurt my neck.
And Lauren, we have a lot of audience questions for you because we've gone through a season and a half and they're all been bottling up. So here are some of them. Lauren asks, Lauren, will 3D models of various ships and other CG stuff besides the rods ever be posted on Thingiverse?
Great name, Lauren. Great name. Yeah, so this comes up often with models that we build and stuff, and because we do create them for companies and that they're sort of like their assets, we don't, we basically create them and sign them over, and so they're owned by the company that created. So we don't have the ability to always share them, and so it's usually up to them. And so I don't know where, I think Prodigy, or I don't know where the rights holders would land with that. But fans can poke and prod them, and maybe they can. They're huge though. I have to say that too. I mean, the Raza we rebuilt it after season 1, and it's massive. It's gigs and gigs and gigs. So when you render it, it's like absolutely insane. But
wow,
I feel like there was maybe one low res model that was maybe out there for a little bit, because I think they were doing like 3D printing of some of them. So there might be a low res model out there in the world.
There is.
Yeah, there is, right? Yeah.
Model, yeah.
And the Marauder, I don't know if there was any. Yeah, the Marauder was awesome. Actually, I really like the Marauder. And then, yeah. I mean, I can't even tell you my favorite models because I realized someone hasn't seen all the episodes. But yeah, I mean, I do honestly like. I mean, I would love to get a 3D printer at some point and just build every ship that I build in CG, just to be able to have them as well. One is the most helpful thing in terms of talking about shots, because I still like I don't animate and stuff like that. So I still find I will take models, or I will usually take something that's really stupid and use my camera to fly around it to say what I'm talking about. So it really helps to have actual models of ships. I mean, like, I think I was trying to do it for the last show, the astronauts, and it just moved too quickly that we weren't able to do it. So, a beer bottle stood in. But it's so nice to be able to, especially the Raza with the moving, because you try and explain how the 4 different engines and how they can kind of turn to spin and everything. It would have been great to have one of those as a toy and visual piece.
Well, I just want to actually comment on the space station as well. Like, the space station was just so cool, and the debris and everything like that, like, it was so well done. And then you like see the Raza kind of like flying through it, and then of course you had that scene with the space battle that was really awesome too.
The space station was beautiful. It was a Jeff Bartzis, who was sort of a matte painter and concept designer. And this scene here was actually done by Fuse Effects, who I think does a lot of Orville too. And so, yeah, I mean, I remember this one that he created, and the shot at the end where the lights behind it and everything is like one of my favorite space station shots out of all of them in the show. It was
wonderful.
Yeah, thank you. I was just very fortunate again to work with a lot of really, really wicked talents, and again finding talents that maybe I think Jeff had done a bit of matte painting, but it was just sort of letting him fill his boots a little bit with the concept design. This was also Sean Hillier, who was like this huge. He just did that George Clooney science fiction one, but he had years at ILM and everything, and he really worked with them to sort of help develop and figure out how to, first of all, like create this station, and then as well break it apart, and then there's other stations that have to be able to be built and taken apart, and it's actually makes it much harder when you're building something that it has to be able to in Houdini, you have to be able to sort of have it shatter properly and everything.
And really quick, Alan asked who's responsible for the rendering of the Raza?
It'd be whoever. I mean, so the Raza was one that actually was done eventually by a couple different vendors, and so it was important that they would be able to render it similar. You can see slight differences sometimes in the different sort of maybe the reflective details of it just by the way one vendor does it. But in the first couple shots there, it was, well, in the Flying in FTL, I think it was Atmosphere VFX. And then by the space station, it was Fuse Effects. And then almost everything else after that was actually done by Darkroom Digital Effects, who was, that's Craig Joe, who was like, one of the pillars of all the Stargate stuff. I mean, I think if you look him up, Craig Van Den Bigler, like he's got like, I don't know, 12 Emmy nominations. But he did these and all the fight sequences and a lot of the other ones later in the episode. And you can see his ship is a bit darker, has a bit, the highlights punch a little bit more because these were like seen through this TV screen. I think this was on the bridge, right, where we see this one. Yeah. And also like I think this is we pushed the animation of the Raza more than we had at any other point in the show. You really get that kind of spinning and that kind of quick dogfight ability that it has here, opposed to the sort of slow Mikkei ships.
Joe and Lauren, how big is the Raza? Is it like a football field long, or how, like in real life, how big is it?
I think it was just short of half of a football field or something. I remember we measured it out because we had to have it land on that ice patch.
Oh yeah.
Right?
Wow.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. I think it was like half a football field that we ended up coming up to. It's tough though. Scale, especially in space. Like you say, you want sort of to everything be one way, and then you kind of have to. You always sort of nudge it around a little bit depending on where it is and what kind of lens you're using. But yeah, I feel like that was about the size.
Joe, did you want to take this question about who had the most fun playing their alter character?
It's hard to answer that question because it's really more of a question for the actors to answer. So I don't know. But I'm sure they all had fun.
Portia looked like she was having the most fun.
Yeah, I mean, I really enjoyed watching this episode because you can see the subtleties in kind of the differences in the performances and how Melissa played Portia. There's almost kind of a overconfidence and kind of a sultriness and to the performance. And one of the questions that came up before was anybody else weirded out by the Portia Boone romantic relationship? And I would say definitely yes. Melissa and Anthony were definitely weirded out. Melissa especially.
That's funny. Well, I wasn't weirded out because at the beginning we kind of like, you guys teeter-tottered on like the idea that they could end up together, or it could have been, Portia or Juan or whatever. So like in an alternate reality, when things go differently, like it's not that far-fetched that they would end up together. So it wasn't like that weird for me. What was weird though was the fact that the storyline was so different in terms of what happened with 5, because she didn't make it and she didn't do the memory wipe, and that's why they're the way they are now, I guess. Yep. So like that was interesting, and the fact that we didn't see an alternate 5, that was interesting.
Mm-hmm. One of my favorite scenes with her was when 2 and 3, well, the alternates, he was saying that he had 86 their prisoners, and Portia was looking like she was about ready to shoot him, and instead ends up on his lap. And I thought that was really brilliant. I like how that played out.
For like half a second, I was worried that 5 was like the prisoner that was ejected. Like he did not.
Yeah, he wouldn't kill 5 like that. Maybe he would. I don't know.
Well,
Yeah, exactly. See, you second guess yourself, and next thing you know, everyone's dead.
I really like that conversation that Five and the android also had, and the when she was trying to fix the drives, where the android was like, "Well, the ship is our home. Like, who cares about getting back to that universe? Like, what's the difference, And like, it's so really like difficult. It's a difficult thing to explain because it's the same but different. But like the android really like didn't really understand. And I also thought
the android has a point. I mean,
yeah,
she says, all we have basically is a ship and each other, and really, it's a fact.
And also I really like the kind of like the clue that you gave in the end, where she was like, "I owe everything to Portia." I was like, "Oh." Dun, dun, dun.
Another little piece to the puzzle.
A little behind the scenes one for that actually was I was watching it and I had like PTSD when they're in there in the big the energy. Remember that big column thing?
Yes.
So you might notice the lighting of it is a little bit different than it had been in other times, because there was an idea to put dry ice through it before we started shooting, or on the first take, and it ended up destroying all the LED lights in it.
Oh no!
Yeah, and so we ended up had to put in another lighting rig or something in there. But it was the first day where like, I remember it was like a Dylan or the FX guys like, "Yeah, we put the dry ice in there." The lighting guys were like, "What are you talking about? We have electronics in there," and I think it fried like everything in there. And so we had to change our like first shot. Okay, so we don't see this now. We had to come back and shoot that one again. But yeah,
that's funny.
Brutal.
Wow, yeah. Dry ice. I'm sure this fun. I'm sure the insurance corporation already knows.
Yeah.
Actually, one of the things I really liked about this drive, because unlike usually like Star Trek or like the other kind of sci-fis where you see the engine room, and it's usually this kind of almost mystic drive, like that you can't really understand how it works, but you're just kind of like, you go along with it, you're like, okay, it works. But this one, you have a very kind of like on the same level as our own technology, where you have a bunch of computer chips, like in those dockets, and they go in this
tactile, and it's utilitarian,
very tactile, very utilitarian. You can move it and make it work differently, or take out different bits of the chips and stuff like that. And I thought that was a really cool design, because it kind of gives you that more like, this is much closer to our reality than kind of like Star Trek or any of the kind of fanciful I guess Star Wars or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
In that sense, I like the drive. It was cool.
Joe, I think this is a hard question to answer, but I think you're the only one who possibly could. Jeff Beeler asked, thank you, Jeff, for the 2 super chats. Where was the split to create the alternate universe?
In my mind, it probably had something to do with 5, and it brings up the question that I think Lauren Loftman asks another one: how did the crew of the Raza in the alternate reality have a blink drive but no 5 to obtain it for them? My response for that would be they probably obtained it from her when she's still stowed away on the ship. They took it from her, and then subsequently probably dropped her off at the nearest space station, and so that she could continue her.
They probably gave her some money for it and sent her on her way.
Yeah. Portia prepared a nice warm meal,
kind
of like a bento box for her, and
kind of sang a song, farewell. Yeah.
Kept her phone number for future projects.
Yeah. If you ever need anything, contact us. Yeah.
They killed her, didn't they? No, I'm just joking.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
She's in space.
I asked this of all the guests, Lauren. Were you part of the whiskey club?
Oh my! I don't know. I mean, the whiskey club. Like, I was there at the beginning of it. I feel like, I don't know. Do I get any credit with introducing you to whiskey, Joe? I don't know. Was it? Because I know there were years where I was a big whiskey person, and like, I feel I don't know if
I was never that much into whiskey. You know what it was like Martin Garrow, who
bourbons.
Worked with us on Stargate. Sent Paul and I each a bottle of I'm not sure what it was called, like Bruch.
No, I know it was a really nice. It was a Jefferson.
No, it was like a Bruch.
Okay.
It was like a 15-year-old Scotch, and so of course Paul brought his back to his hotel and drank it alone, and I basically ended up sharing it with everyone in the office, and then Norman Denver, our line producer, brought in a bottle of his. I think it was like a Lagavulin 15 or something, and then people kept on bringing in different bottles. But I mean, I don't know if you were a bourbon guy, but maybe you introduced me to bourbon.
It was whiskey because Chris Judge introduced me to whiskey, not wanting to be introduced to it, but he was like, "You were drinking," and I'm like, "Okay." And then but that's why I guess maybe that's true. Like, it was the bourbons that were there, and then slowly into whiskey, and then Norman loved Irish Tears.
Oh
really Writer's Tears. Yeah. And then So I was 100% a part of that, and I even made sure that I kept an eye on some of those whiskeys, even when production was shut down or a snow day. I would drive in to make sure that they were okay. I've got my now whiskey club wall over here that I just I look at to just remember. But good times.
I mean, when I moved from Vancouver, did I?
Yes, I have only just now. So Joe's original whiskey collection. Actually, I don't know if mostly whiskey. There's a lot of like very sweet things. I've only just now started to nearly finish some of them from about 20 years ago, 15 years ago. I still have some weird one with a pear in the middle.
Oh yeah.
I still have the maple whiskey too. Yeah,
good stuff.
Yeah, every time. Actually, what was it? I think I said didn't have a photo. There was something I was celebrating, and I decided to crack one of them. They've all aged quite well, except for the avocat or.
But that's a cream base. That's like
you don't want to cure those. Just sentimental reasons, but you still got to drink them.
Yeah.
I know nothing of what you speak of.
Joe, Karine asks, we know you love the alternate universes, and she asks, what do you most love about them?
Oh, I basically just love them. The road not taken, seeing how, relationships would have turned out differently, characters would have turned out differently, and also allows you to offer insights into our world. That's what a lot of this episode is. So, for instance, when Six sits down in front of the screen and watches his own death, he says that he leaves himself a message and was like, or is leaving a message for someone, and is like, this is the protocol, this is the I don't know what he calls it, the kind of the audio password for the android. Because if you don't say it, she's going to assume you're a threat. So that, in essence, this explains why in the pilot she ends up attacking the crew, presumably not recognizing them. And then you also, there's a whole discussion with Four, and the wheels start turning in his head about how he's going to, try and retake the throne of his home world. And that conversation with Portia and Boone has a lot to do with it and sends him down kind of an interesting path in later episodes.
Ooh.
It's a mark of a disciplined writer, because I could never do that. I'd get too distracted. There's too many variables. We'd end up with 40,000 different universes all in one. And I hats off.
No, thank you, but I'm sure you could do your own version. I'm sure.
And Joe, I wanted to ask you this question. Now, if you're going to get involved with a mirror universe, is it a sporadic thing, like, or would you ever do a sci-fi that would constantly be in the mirror universe or back and forth?
You could. The reason I think these mirror universe episodes work is that you take the time to establish the characters, the world, and the relationships, so that when you shift to the alternate universe, it's those differences, big and small, that kind of land with more of an impact, because you spent enough time building everything else.
Did you ever see Fringe?
I did not.
I like that mirror universe situation
Mm-hmm.
in Fringe, and that's what they did. They took a while to set up like kind of like Universe A before they even like crossed over.
Right.
And
Yeah.
it was a really, it was really well done because you're used to those characters, so you're like, oh.
Yeah, one of the few J.J. Abrams things that I like.
I know, it's really weird. It's like it's not it's the only one that I've ever enjoyed was Fringe.
Hyman, who did that with I guess he was the showrunner. His new show Debris, they just shot here. Some friends worked on it, but that one just came out, or I think it's just coming out. So I'll be curious to see if it carries that same sort of Fringe fan base.
It's called Debris.
Debris, yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna have to look that up.
Yeah.
John Burns, thank you so much for the super chat. Thank you, John Burns. Katie, Alexander Rook, Will Wheaton has facial hair in our universe, and there's a mirror universe kind of thing going on. So is our universe the evil one? Joe, is your established universe the evil one?
Of course, yes.
Such a twist. Oh my gosh. I always love it when you get a villain with facial hair. I don't know why. I think it makes it look more
nefarious.
Yes, exactly. No offense to people who have facial hair.
Yeah, wait
now,
a minute.
if you pop a full beard on too, you instantly it's like she's a bad one. So
yeah, that would be a dead giveaway.
Yeah,
that was also like a running joke in Community. I don't know if you guys ever seen that, but when they did their alternate universe, it was like evil Abed, and he had he had the goatee.
But honestly, every show that's done a alternate universe episode since Star Trek's Mirror Mirror will have at least one character with a goatee as a to evil.
You have to.
But just to say, the reason that is either your evil twin has a goatee or a very loose-fitting hat, so they can do costume changes and not kill everyone on the day. Because I remember even doing this. It was like, okay, we're gonna shoot. I mean, it was when Portia and Boone come up on two, and like you have to go down to the costume change and everything. And it's not like just stepping aside and change. You got to go to the trailers. Everyone's standing around. So there were probably at some point someone was like, "Could I stick a mustache on you? Like, is that cool or good?"
That's hilarious.
Here, I picked up some of these extra hair shavings from makeup, and we're just gonna stick it on.
Yeah, or just talk with an accent.
I gotta say, Jeff Beeler, I totally agree with you. I was gonna actually, I was gonna bring this up later. His favorite line of the episode is, you hit like a girl, you do like a super fit, well-trained, scary girl." That was funny, Jeff. That was funny. Wow.
Great line.
Too.
Reminded me of Gina Carano.
Yeah. Ooh, Debris on tonight.
Oh,
yeah.
You know what's pathetic? That's like 5 hours after my bedtime.
Lauren, we have a picture here that everybody's just asking, what exactly are you holding in this picture?
Oh, this photo. What? How did you know you took this? And this thing is following me around. I'll do like interviews and give like a proper headshot. Like, oh, we found this on the internet. We'll use this one instead. Like, So I'm just imagining. I'm sure you'll be there, Joe. But my wife will be standing over my casket, giving my eulogy, and they'll put up a photo, and this will be like me. Like, we'll remember him as
what a goofball.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that's hilarious.
So that's a gray ball, and it is so one side is chrome reflective, the other side is gray, is matte gray, and the idea of it, 15% gray. The idea of it is it's a measure of the lighting in a room. And so when you are lighting something in CG, you're trying to recreate what the lighting was at the same time on the set. And in a lot of the 3D software, well, most all the 3D software is you have sort of a gray ball and you move lights around it. And what you're trying to do is move the lights to match what the lighting was in the scene. So if you're holding a gray ball in a room up and you see it's hot, like sort of orangey light up here and a bit of like blue softer light down here in your program, you do the same thing, and ideally your thing will look like it exists in the room there. And the chrome side is sort of the same idea, but it gives you the reflection. So you can, if you have something reflective, you can now take that reflection wrap it around your 3D character, and your character will reflect back the environment around them. So the same, what they do now for a lot of stuff is are called HDRIs, high dynamic resolution images, where they take basically a 360 photo of the room. Actually, I have my little guy right here. Ooh. So it's usually like a camera like this. And you take a 360 photo at a bunch of different stops, so a bunch of different light levels. When you put it all together, you can see the lightest and the darkest bits of the room. But what it does is it creates a sphere that you can put around your 3D character, shine light through it, and it gives you kind of the approximate lighting of what existed there on the day. So it's really just about matching. It's like taking a snapshot of the lighting. But this is the old school way, because these, while they're great, when you're shooting in Ontario, where you were shooting in the winter, it gets cold where your laptop stops working, your phone stops working, these stop working, your pen stops working. And so you got to go old school with these. And like literally, I remember the first episode, I was down to using a pencil and paper and this thing. So
it's like shooting in Toronto is like shooting in end times.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
It's nothing works.
People were like going like, I'm going to go to the Antarctic to go do a documentary. Good luck with Toronto.
Yeah. Oh, that's funny.
Spark. That is a nice shot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is from the beginning of the episode, and where they're going through. Oh, and by the way, Lauren, thank you so much for not making the Raza and Joe, to both of you guys. Thank you for making the Raza not do like spinning on itself, because it's going to do a jump for the blink drive. Anyway.
A bit of Discovery anger I see there.
Yes, it's a little Discovery anger. Yes.
Wait, didn't Discovery borrow something from ours? Which
really?
They have a blink drive too. It's funny because basically we were I think in season 3 when Discovery was shooting, and we had like some people who were working on our show, and they're like, they're doing this top secret thing on Star Trek. And I'm like, what is it? And they're like, it's a blink drive. Like,
oh my God.
So but I mean, it's a sci-fi,
staple.
Still rude. You wait until the other show is done.
I cannot stand the way the Discovery flips around and tosses around before it disappears, vanishes. I
gotta see that. I agree. Like that is a huge thing for me. And again, coming to this, just trying to figure out what the look of jumping to FTL and was the look of that, because you just see so many things done again and again, and you kind of want something unique, different, but something that feels like you're not just like, that there's some sort of motion to it, and to explain kind of the physics behind what you're sort of saying would or possibly happen. So I do appreciate very much that Joe and everyone sort of kind of got behind an idea of like, okay, well, how does FTL work? I mean, I think in the writer's room, you guys like even had the full idea of like, I remember on the whiteboard of saying what the FTL was and how it works. It was like, okay, well, this is how it actually works, and let's figure out what visually it would be, rather than just sort of doing something that's quick for a vendor to pump out and be like, okay, it disappeared.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. Now, do you tend to watch other sci-fi shows to just look at, I don't want to say judge their visual effects?
No, I mean, it's a tiny industry, and so I have friends that will work on other things, and I'll hear about stuff, or they'll be doing that. So you kind of like just hear just about like, or people will be asking like, we have this problem we're trying to figure out. So you kind of hear that way, like what's going on. I don't actually, there was a time when I used to watch more TV. Just having a kid, that doesn't exist anymore. So I don't tend to watch too much, but I definitely like, I'm horrible to watch TV with now, because like, for visual effects, I'll always be like, oh, really? But I mean, when they do it really well, I'm like, oh my, like, then I'm like, okay, no, we gotta stop this and go back. Like, how do they do that? Like, there's some great stuff that you'll just see, and you're just like, and it's usually the more like tactile like stuff where they'll shoot stuff for real and not just CG at all. Because when it's CG, you're like, okay, I kind of know what they did, and they just threw a bunch of money at it. But I just talked to my wife about this episode about twinning, which is insanely stressful and hard, because you kind of got to get it right on the set. And there was like that Paul Rudd one on Netflix where like I just can't even I can't even watch it because I get heart palpitations of thinking about having to be there on set shooting it. So like, it's those sort of like, you know, very not simple, but like, you know, very true VFX stuff. I think that's stuff that always impresses me the most.
I thought Orphan Black did a really good job too.
Orphan Black did it really well. They I mean, again, the performance. So Tatiana was like just awesome at it. Her stand-in was also really, really good. But they also just spent a ton of time. Like, I remember, like, you know, when people say, "Oh, let's do it," because Orphan Black down the street's doing it, and they're like, "Yeah, have you seen the crew? They're pale and haven't slept in weeks. They're exhausted." So.
Okay. And John Burns, thank you. I don't have a problem with the blink drive being borrowed by other sci-fis as I couldn't stop thinking of the Heart of Gold from Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. Thank you, John Burns. Thank you for that comment. Thank you, John Burns. Lauren, we interviewed not too long ago Eric Hayden from co-VFX supervisor from the Orville. Have you guys crossed paths in any time? Eric Hayden?
Eric Hayden? I'm going to say Ivan Hayden. I know he was like one of the OG VFX soups in town here who used to do Supernatural. Eric Hayden, I don't think so. I to be honest, most of the people who work on the Orville, because it's shot in LA, so I don't think I know most of the production side people. But I mean, you know, Fuse Effects, I know. Actually, just got a message from them. Like, yeah, they're based out of there. They also have a big office here in Vancouver, and I'm sure I can tell you with a 100% guarantee that some of the artists that have worked on Dark Matter are probably also working on Orville through. Like, if you're a fan of sci-fi, as many artists are, they just want to be on that, you know, that fun sci-fi show. And I know like a bunch of really great animators. A guy who actually helped do our first season, Alec, was like the man on Battlestar Galactica. And then just like whatever show has like awesome ship sequences and fight sequences, he's like kind of the guy they go to because he just loves it.
Any diamond in the rough that you've worked with that you wanna recognize, give special recognition to?
Oh, I mean, like the artists. I mean, so many on this show, and I mean, so many on this show. It's funny because they, you know, because Joe kind of put just his faith in me to like kind of go and get people and say, you know, like I think you can do this. I think you can create your own company and do this on your own. And now those companies are like just killing it and just doing so much. So yeah, 1618. I mean, there are these small companies that are really based around, you know, an artist or two. The Suburbs VFX, Darkroom Digital Effects, Craig Van Bigler. Honestly, you just look him up and you see that. I mean, I don't even know how many Emmys that guy has, or I mean nominations. Don't bring up the Emmys. But yeah, I mean, there have been so many. Like Sean, who was one of the keys. He was the main guy at Fuse Effects. He is like, I mean, he's not a diamond in the rough anymore. Like he's one of the main guys at Frame Store. Like he did what was that, the HBO one with all the animals? That was after Game of Thrones it came on. Oh man, as you can see, I'm
HBO show with all the animals.
Yeah, Golden Compass.
Golden Compass.
Yeah, so he did that. I mean, like that thing
yeah.
is like, yeah. So he just killed and did that George Clooney one that just came out. I mean, you know, yeah, they're not that. The thing is, you know, it's good. They're not diamonds in the rough for long when you kind of give them an opportunity, and especially when you kind of try to pull people who might be at a company and might be underappreciated there, you know, and you kind of let them sort of, you know, do work, live or die by their own work, where there's sort of no one else to sort of cover them up, but they just do amazing work. Erica, again, like these aren't diamonds in the rough. Erica, who was one of the key artists for a lot of this. I mean, she was also the key artist, you know, one of the leads for Stargate over the years. She's one of the instructors. Most people out of Vancouver have probably been taught by her now, and just like the coolest person and just like a problem solver to boot. Like that's the best thing. Artists are great when you can let them just sort of throw them a problem and then just let them use their process to kind of find a fun way to figure it out, and you kind of give them the space and the time to do it. That's the thing, is like, as a supervisor, you're just kind of, you're just trying to place the right talent with the right problem, and then just sort of get out of their way.
Joe, do you want to take this question from Time Prophet? How did the shuttle dock with a duplicate Raza when there's only one room for one shuttle in the? Is that so?
There's more than
one shuttle.
Yeah.
Okay, more than one shuttle.
I think we could. Yeah, I remember the discussion.
This discussion, yes.
Yeah.
We totally geek out on here, Lauren, so you can get all kinds of questions. Thank you, Time Prophet, for that question. Since we have Lauren here, we want to try to put up the images that are very relevant to his work. I really enjoyed this sequence, by the way, Joe and Lauren.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Oh, that was so cool.
Yeah.
I have to say, sort of, the visual effects are great, but what really kicks off this sequence is to punching Wexler's lights out. Like, we see punching him once, and then basically following up with the KO, and then basically we get in here and this whole nuke launch sequence.
And it's really, really being punchable. Like, really, like,
it was a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
Oh, I was cheering.
It was so great.
But that forward scene of that shuttle coming in, the gun base coming out, I'm just going, that's what I wanted to see. That was very cool.
I remember. I think we talked about the weapons on earlier. This shot actually I love. I remember discussing it, like, how do you? There's always about how do you it's kind of like any production or writing is to try to be as efficient as possible with your time on the screen and everything. And so how can you tell it coming out and where it's going, and then trying to make sure that we've worked out where things are placed in the ship. Because there are some crazy, again, like modelers, like they want to know where everything is and built it. So like they're, where these bays would be coming from and where that would then go be on a ship.
What was this shot a model, Lauren?
This was a CG. Yeah, so this is full CG. But just the again, I think one of the users was saying they like has a lot of light and dark in this one. This is darkroom digital effects to this one, and you can see that kind of nice shine and sheen they have. Like, there's a lot of breakdown on the ship over time. We kind of said, with sort of space, dirt, and dust, you kind of get a bit of an abrasive feel on it. But playing up, you kind of need that spec and everything just to sort of give it a bit of life. And so, you kind of see that right there with the reflections and the missile and the paint stripes. Yeah, I miss the Raza.
So do I. Bring it back.
I've said it to Joe like 3 times. Next time you guys do a series, you should find a place to leave the setup and rent it out as an Airbnb later to the fans.
I wouldn't be surprised if that's the direction that sci-fi goes. Like, get a little bit of extra money on the side, forget merchandise. The Airbnb's where it's at.
Yeah, just come on in. Although then I don't know if you want to cook it. I guess there was a kitchen. We never saw the kitchen, or stuff would come out of the dining room there. Yeah.
Well, you sell
dining room would be a popular place for sure, though.
Yeah.
Katie, you sell the merchandise in your gift shop of the
there you go,
of the B&B.
Yeah.
The beds, though,
Not
I think they were designed for like 4 foot, 4 feet tall individuals, because they were not comfortable.
But and I mean, they would get locked down after lunch. Like, someone would find that, and like, I remember wait a minute, whatever, Katie, earmuffs.
Okay, I'll unplug.
That was the greatest time when they had all those cells in the penitentiary, because it was the one time after lunch where everyone was like, I got my own cell. I can sit down and go to sleep. And it felt like we were all like in prison together there. It was awesome. I remember those days. And then I remember set decks like, guys, don't sleep on our beds, but what are you going to do? Yeah.
Am I safe to come back?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Actually, it was a reference to an episode that already happened anyway. So.
Oh, was it? Okay. Yeah.
So I felt bad for the nurse.
Yes.
Just saying. I
Oh,
kind of feel bad.
they
for
should
her.
refer to him as the nurse, John Sipos.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wait, her brother, right? Yeah, because he's killed in the station, right?
Yeah. At the end of was the last episode?
Yeah.
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 I know that it's sad, and even sadder still the fact that basically they just assume that he left.
Yeah, they don't know.
They don't know.
And then like
trauma.
3 in the end was like, yeah, he just took off, like whatever. And 5 was like, well, he wouldn't leave without saying bye. And then he was like, well, how do you know? And he's just like, I guess I don't know.
Yeah.
He's gone.
So they never do find out.
Or do they?
Well, I'm not gonna
Oh.
So we can't talk spoilers, Susanna.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So in response to your question, Susanna, we will find out soon enough who came back on that shuttle at the end of the episode.
Well,
See, I think it's one. Well, Jace Corso, but still, I'm hoping. Maybe, no, possibly. Maybe it's the nurse. Who knows?
Are you feeling nervous at all about the final scene that we saw there, Katie, with 2 like on the floor?
Yeah, a little bit. I'm hoping, maybe if it's like a tech issue, 5 can help out. If it's a health issue, well, the nurse is gone, but we can work with this. We can work with this. She was still alive when she hit the floor, and that's all that matters to me right now. At least I think she was. Hope she was.
Yeah, she's still alive.
Okay, good. Very good.
I can tell you that.
Oh,
Maybe I should have lied.
Nope. Thank you. I can sleep tonight. Thank you.
And we do have some really great sequences here with Melissa and Tori. Really some great sequences.
Oh yeah, this conversation. Yeah, I kind of like these two together. Melissa and Tori. I mean, they're both really strong actresses, and just their characters are equally strong. I like the way kind of they play off each other.
Yeah.
Something that we haven't brought up, hopefully we can get a little bit of time in it, was the prison cell interrogation. You could see the gears in 4 starting to working.
Yeah.
I don't want to have Katie bring her earmuffs off, but I liked how it's progressing along, bit by bit.
The storyline is not one of those where, okay, it's a 2-episode shtick and we're getting it like resolved. I like actually having it drawn out, so you have to wait.
Yeah, and that was kind of the challenge of the show, is that you have so many balls in the air, and it's just, keeping them in the air, but doing so in a way that, pays off within the individual episodes as well.
Yeah, well, there was definitely some foreshadowing done here too.
Foreshadowing.
Yeah.
And Lauren, the scene that was just mentioned, do you want to talk a little bit about the force field?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, I just remember, again, a lot of discussion, a lot of because we know everyone watches sci-fi, and so they know all the different types of force fields, and so trying to figure out patterns, and hopefully was it more of a hexagonal kind of thing, a honeycomb kind of grid pattern to it, and then trying to give it more than just that kind of one light. And then I don't know, I love all the problem solving that goes on with any TV show, and the kind of you write that there's an invisible force field, and then it's okay, well, how do we show this? And just the fun back and forth of being like, hey, well, is it always on? Is it on when you touch it? Does it still stay on? And just that kind of give and take of trying to figure out what it is. And I actually really like those force fields. Just the way they kind of had a bit more of an organic feel to them, that you kind of play with them. Yeah.
I love that scene.
Yeah. That's so great. Cool.
Yeah. yeah, again, and this is Erica just killing everything. Where you just sort of throw like you give it and you say, "Okay, these look cool," and then just like I'll come back in a couple of days, and then just I remember there was so many like 15 variations as to what it would look like, and then how it would wipe on and wipe off, and yeah.
Part of me was wondering if it was like an electrified force field. Just, no, don't do that.
Yeah, right.
I'm always nervous when it comes to that sort of stuff. Like if there's ever force fields in my lifetime, I will not be touching them.
What was there was another show that had one where like you touched it and you would like
bounce back or something.
Yeah, where you would get hit. I remember like that being a discussion at the time. Be like, oh, well, you know, Simpsons did it.
Well, I mean, even in Star Trek, like when you kind of like touch it, it's not unless she has like extreme pain receptors where she's like doesn't care that she's being hurt. You do get like kind of like
from it. Yeah,
it's such a power move. Just, I can feel pain.
I mean, maybe she doesn't really like. Maybe she's used to the pain. That was the other kind of like what it showed to me in that scene was that she could be very comfortable with pain. And that's why she's like able to do that because most people wouldn't, you know, you'd be like, like that hurts. Because that's kind of a point of a force field. Like you're not supposed to like it.
Oh my gosh, this scene. Oh my gosh.
Poor Anthony.
I liked her pants.
Shiny.
I want a pair of those, but it would be way too hot for Cancun. I don't know if I can wear them.
Yeah. I'll switch with you. Just for a week so you can wear the leggings.
Yeah, right, Katie. Yeah, right. Nice try.
Tash has a different outfit in this episode than she had the first time we saw her.
Yeah.
Because I remember talking to Noreen, and she was like, I just want you to know that we don't have Tash's original outfit. And I'm like, what happened? And she's like, well, I guess we thought we killed off the character. And Jay, who's president of the company, gave it to someone.
Oh my god!
Tash's outfit to someone. So
that's so weird.
And then he comes walking in with it. Like, oh,
The weirdest thing would be is if you were like out at the mall and you just see it. It's like, hey, give that back.
And I have to guiltily admit, I think I have like 3 shirts here that Jay gave me from Lost Girls. I mean, I don't need any shirts. Like, no, please. He's incredibly generous. I'm like,
yeah, he had his own room where he kept like wardrobe from previous shows. And I remember Kemi and he invited us in, and it was like basically he has his own salon. He's like, here, try this on. And I think it was like my first week on the show. Vanessa, one of our executive producers, came by and she's like, here, Jay wanted you to have these. And it was exactly like 3 shirts that he picked out for me.
Hey, I gotta say, it was a nice shirt. Still is. I mean, yeah. I rarely work on shows where the actors are on the same build as me, so I try to, when the costume sales come up.
You're about Roger across the size, aren't you?
Yeah, exactly. It's good. I think there's a Matthew Modine show in town once, and I ended up with like 5 of his things. I'm like, I guess that's fine. So I just basically now have to figure out what actors, because then there's like Ed Begley Jr. I think was on one, and I got one of his. His shoes are like size 15 shoes. I can't wear them. Give those things away.
And Joe, I think we have a special surprise guest in the background. And I think she's ready. So let's all welcome Tori Higginson. Manager
Tori. We have been talking about you all night.
Were you? My ears were burning.
We were talking about, I was just talking about there's a scene where you and Melissa sit across a table and go at it. And I was saying I love the fact that both you and Melissa are such strong actors, and you're portraying such strong characters, and just watching you two do scenes together was always a treat.
Oh, well, all of the women on Dark Matter was such a joy. Melissa's such a joy. Zoe's such a joy. Like these strong, fabulous women that you always put together, which is I felt so lucky to get to play a little bit with them. Yeah.
But by the way, before we start off, I wanted to sort of congratulate Tori, who got bumped up to series regular on her new series.
That's
Transplant.
fantastic.
Congratulations.
Awesome.
Thank you. Yeah, it's fun. It's a nice group of people. I feel very happy because all my family in Wales are nurses. So I feel it was important for them to have a regular character who was a nurse, not just a doctor. You know, real in the front lines, not getting all the glory.
Absolutely.
My wife always rolls her eyes. She's a nurse, so always rolls her eyes. All these shows were like, the doctors are all checking with the patients, doing things like the doctor's out of there. The nurse is there.
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
Right? They're doing all the hard work and they're not getting the paycheck or the kudos. So
Yeah,
they're just superheroes, man. Yeah.
I smell a
Tori,
revolution.
We were also talking about how like this scene that you basically just owned when you were like walking in with those guys in that hallway, and then you walk in and you do the Men in Black thing. That was so cool.
The strut.
The True strut. That was so much
awesome.
fun. That was so much fun. Well, I always love it when, Joe, you put a gun in my hand. It doesn't happen very often, but it's very joyful when it happens. And I'm a pacifist in real life, so I'm surprised at myself for enjoying it so much, but I do.
That's why you enjoyed it, probably.
Probably. Well, I feel so bad that I'm jumping in so late, and I mean, you guys are closing in a couple of minutes, and I actually have
you're good.
7:30 physio for my knees. But I wanted to pop in to say hello because I just was so happy to be invited to the crew yet again, your weekly crew.
Always great to see you.
Aww.
It is wonderful to have you. You can see the people in chat. I don't know if you can or not, but people absolutely love you. Everything you've done is fabulous.
Oh, that's super sweet. I can hardly see anything. I'm having one of those techno days that everything was failing. So I've got you on my phone and I can hardly see anything.
Oh, no.
Teeny little boxes. I couldn't figure out how to find you on my computer. So I have no idea what I look like. I probably look terrifying. The weather yesterday in Montreal, it was spring. And then today I got in, I had to walk my dog because he's been crossing his legs for the last 8 hours. And it's like, it's so cold that the snow sounds like glass. You remember that, Joseph?
Yeah.
It turns from beautiful soft snow to glass. It's crazy.
You breathe in, your nose sticks
responsibility
together.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. And a friend of mine who's a scientist, he was saying that it gets so cold in space that water gets harder than granite. It freezes to be stronger than granite. And I believe that in Montreal. I feel we get a taste of that here.
Well, if you guys are lucky tonight, if there's clear skies, you'll be able to see the aurora. So if it's cold, you have a pretty crisp view of it. So
wow. Could you see it in Montreal? Could it be seen?
Probably. If you get enough away from the lights, I wouldn't be surprised if you could. Like, it's incredible how strong the solar storm is. So you have a chance.
Oh my gosh, I've never seen those. I've always wanted to see them. It's a dream of mine. Have you seen them yourself?
I wish. I've gone, because I do tornado chasing and I do aurora chasing, and I have much better luck with one than the other.
Oh,
so haven't seen it before, but I'm always
willing to. You gotta come up to BC. I tell you, you need a little bit. Yeah, head up to like just past Squamish, camping up there. You see them. Yeah, see a lot.
Oh,
or even like Alberta, like I saw it in Grand Prairie. It was good.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh gosh, I want to do that now.
Tori, Joe and Lauren were mentioning how quick you just started doing eye shields for the shot.
Sorry, how quick I kept doing what?
Eye shields, like they told you how to do eye shields for this.
We're talking about the fact that you're so sci-fi savvy that when you were setting up to do the shot, you just kind of like checked with Lauren, asked him specifically, what the shot was going to be, and then you just delivered.
Aww.
I say that I can remember quite a few things in the show where we would be saying some ridiculous VFX or sci-fi, like, well, this is what's going to happen in front of you. It's just, and it's crazy nonsense. And you sort of hear what it is, like, okay, and they commit to it 100%. So when it happens, it seems just natural. So I remember the eye ones too, just being like,
the eye
sure.
shadow, I understand what you're saying. Yeah.
You're like the eye shields.
Fabulous Stargate training, right? That's where you guys taught us all that.
Yeah.
It took a while to learn. Going, really? Got to look at a tennis ball? What? But what?
I know.
What?
And the faith that it's like it's going to be there in the end, and it's like, yeah, it's always. I always feel like you're asking someone to walk out, like Indiana Jones, walk out, and you say, "There's a bridge. It's an invisible bridge under you, but just walk out. You're fine."
It's
Tori, what's the name of your new show again?
Oh, it's called Transplant. So it's a hospital show. So I sort of joke and say, so there is science in there, and it's a fiction. So in a sense, it's science fiction.
Okay. So everybody check out Transplant.
Really. Yeah, but I just want to say, like, it's such a leap of faith on working on a new sci-fi show, because unless you know the people that are doing all the fabulous special effects, which is a lot of the heart of the show, all that creating that world, making that believable, there's a leap of faith until you know for sure, because you don't want to, what if I do a really big reaction and then the effect is really crappy and you're going to feel like a jerk. And so that's that wonderful sort of moment of, we now trust each other, and we now
100%.
know they're going to completely deliver. So I'm going to give them my reality. And it's a lovely moment when you can do that.
Yeah, no, it is one of the really nice things of just sort of the faith that you kind of have to put in each other, and like we're in this together, and neither of us want to look bad in the end. So we know we're gonna protect each other and make sure. It's really nice.
And you guys always do it. Always do it. It's fabulous. Yeah. Fabulous to watch. Fabulous to play with. But I'm gonna run now. I've got to eat my popcorn, which is my dinner. And I've got to get to my knee physio, and I had to walk my dog quickly in the ice and so it's been a mad day, but I'm so glad I jumped on just for a minute.
Thank you for dropping by. And Tori, how long are you in Montreal for?
Thank you. I'm here until August, dude.
Oh, amazing.
I know. It is.
By that time, the pandemic will be over, the lockdowns will be done, and hopefully I'll be able to come down and we can grab a lunch or a dinner.
We can do some eating.
Excellent.
Together, making bread with people in public. All right.
Thank you, Tori, so much for coming in.
Bye. Thank you.
Oh, nice.
Oh, what a sweetheart.
I love her.
That was a great surprise. And of course, Joe invited her.
Thank you, Joe.
Thank you, Joe.
You always bring on the best people.
And me.
And Lauren.
Yes.
I just sneak on.
One
I'm
of
like,
the best.
I'm on his Gmail behind the scenes. Like, what? Joe's got a.
That's another thing we go over, Lauren, is Joe has brought over quite several guests, actors, people behind the scenes, and we asked them, and to a person, and find out we could tell it's already that way, but I did want to ask you anyway. The crew, the staff, the show, was it really one of the best places that you ever worked?
Oh, yeah. I mean, first of all, it's like just working with Joe. I still Stargate days in the writer's room were like some my favorite. I remember the time you jump out of bed and want to go to work, because it's just you're just with friends having such a wicked time. And so it was like whatever Joe does next, totally in. And I know this was in Toronto. I was in Vancouver. My year of engagement to my wife and our first year of marriage. I was in Toronto. Oh. She was here, but it was like, just working with Joe and Ivan, and then everyone else who became family was just so awesome. And she came out too. I think was out there for 3 or 4 months. Took a leave from work because it was just such an awesome time. So basically Joe creates a sort of wicked environment in which one, it's you're having fun, and everyone sort of just loves going to work because you're going to laugh a lot. But as well, he's one of those great executive producers in that he hires people who are good at what they do, and then he kind of lets them run with it, and he kind of is the mastermind that kind of picks and chooses, and everyone gives it their best stuff, and he sort of puts it all together. But you don't feel that. You feel a large ownership to what you're doing, and I think everyone in every department definitely felt that in Dark Matter. And I think everyone who I think has worked with Joe again since and before that, it's just that you just feel incredibly respected. You feel like he knows how hard that you are working as hard as you are on the show, and so it makes you just want to work harder. And he feeds you so well. I just if you could see. I would say if you could see the photos, but unfortunately because of Joe and his camera, you can see way too many photos of me online eating and passing out from eating. But like just the food. We were talking the other day about the production meetings, and some of the food you would bring was just like ridiculous. It was like, how do you get through a production meeting that's already so long without sugar?
A lot of that was Robbie David, who was our PM, and
he found those crullers, those apple crullers that were still.
Oh yeah.
And the Portuguese tarts, but I remember, what was it? You were because you would also make these things and bring them in.
Oh, actually, I would make them. Kemi would make them. She'd make these bourbon cookies. And it was a recipe we got online, and the recipe called for like a tablespoon of bourbon. So, and I refined it so there would be a cup of bourbon
to like a pie.
And those things were so boozy, but delicious.
Oh man,
My.
All right, I'm gonna get my wallet and buy some off of you.
Yeah, we should do like just a recipe exchange.
Yeah.
And Lauren, Joe always provides a batch of behind the scenes pictures for episodes, and we're gonna see what Joe's provided for this week.
Easy, Joe. I got a lot of
Lauren
photos
looks
too.
nervous.
Joe, I was really I was like, I'm backing up hard drive stuff here. Like I've got years and years of photos.
Really?
So yeah.
Oh man, you bought
of like Stargate, of just Joe around the house on a telescopic lens from across the street. Like,
Dropbox some of those.
Yeah,
the fans would love it.
Wow.
Yeah, here we are on set with Jessica and Anthony.
Those red lights were a nice accent.
Yeah. The fact that obviously the alternate Raza has a very different lighting. It's like you said, a little more red, darker. I think a little more atmosphere.
And then we removed the chair. Wasn't there a chair from the front? Can I remember? I hadn't watched this. I hadn't watched for so long. Yeah. But when who is it? They come in and they're fighting, and someone jumps over the front console, and I immediately was like, "Oh God, you're gonna hit!" And they landed. And I'm like, "Wait a minute, there's supposed to be something there." And I think the chair was. We had to move it for the fight scene. But it's like, what the hell?
I know.
Wasn't there a chair there? I remember.
Oh, maybe there was a chair in front of the console. Yeah.
Yeah. Cause I remember just from the morning blockings that you'd kind of there and try to sit there. But like I just remember when they jumped in front, I'm like, there's a lot of room for there in a fight there.
And this was the gray line, I think. This is the great line that Jeff Beeler was talking about.
Like a super fit, well-trained, scary girl.
Yes. Oh my gosh, that was so great.
That was funny. That was really funny. All right, and let's see. In that picture, that's a lot of people on set.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, basically, what happens is the director goes through it with the cast. It's like a private blocking, and then they call in the crew, and everybody can sort of watch and see how the scene will play out.
I miss those guys. Craig on the left there, Andy, Jason with the viewfinder. Yeah.
You guys need to do a reunion. Just everyone meet up in a field somewhere and just hang out.
Aww.
That's a good picture.
Nefarious pair.
Both matching leather jackets.
Yeah, I like the leather.
Look at the lapels on those things. They're huge.
Mm-hmm. So I think he would have been your size.
Yeah. I just couldn't pull off. Mark is much cooler than I am. A lot of leather pants and leather jackets. I just can't.
You can't. You
Lauren,
can't do that.
Lauren, I wanted to ask you, what was the hardest thing that you guys did during the 3 seasons of Dark Matter? Like, what was the hardest thing that Joe asked you to do? The script asked you to do.
I'm not. I mean, like honestly, not to this episode, but twinning. Twinning always gave me like just a heart attack. And I mean, it was so lucky. I think a lot of the twinning typically were with very experienced directors. So it was Andy, the Jace Corso. Wait a minute, I'm trying to think if I'm
Yeah, that was Amanda in
That's
season.
Amanda, right? Okay, yeah.
Amanda tapping.
Yeah, and so those were always just tough. But no, what would be the? I've got a really great psyche that tends to block these things. So if it was tough, I'm probably like, oh, it didn't happen. What are you talking about? No, I mean, it would. I mean, actually, it's just the amount of original stuff of like, like, we're back, great, okay, well we'll brush off all the stuff we have. Like, well, we got new guns now. And you're like, oh God. It's like, anything where like, yeah, the things were blowing up. I think it was like. The Raza, that's what it was. Raza, gosh, anything you're doing space, when everyone was like, hey, then it's going to go through the atmosphere and it's going to burn up. You're like, oh boy. So definitely, yeah, the going down and landing on the planet, ice planet. The atmospheric burns. No, there was chopping up Zoe wasn't too difficult. I think. I don't know. I'm trying to. I don't know. Again, it's all now just in a happy rose-colored shiny heart. My memory is all rose-colored, and then the gray is all just the real
locked away.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is alt Porsche and Boone. I have to say, I love the alt Porsche look.
It's very femme fatale kind of vibes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I could not pull that off.
Melissa loved that leather jacket too.
Yeah.
A leather coat, really.
Somebody asked before, Joe, if somebody asked before, we have too much going on, but if the name Porsche had anything to do with the name coming from porcelain?
No. So yeah, Jodelle was always reading in her downtime. I can't sort of read that off my screen. What is that?
Harry Potter magical creatures.
Okay.
Oh, really? Okay. Yeah, Jodelle.
She's a huge nerd.
Huge, biggest nerd.
Yeah.
She's awesome. I feel like out of everyone, I should have bumped into her more, and I haven't seen her at all in Vancouver. I think I've bumped into Mark before I bumped into her.
Yeah, I think she lives kind of on the outskirts.
Yeah.
Yeah, just find a bookstore. Maybe she'll be there.
I know. I go around whether the Comic-Con here or whatever, and I remember cause she was doing a whole thing there for a bit, but yeah.
Yeah. I have to say the one thing I love this episode. The one thing I kind of bumped on in retrospect with the helmets. Whenever these guys would come on screen, Ivan would be like, "Yeah, they got some food to deliver or something." Like basically, like they look like bike couriers.
Yeah, it wasn't like this story sort of just passing through one of the paintball arena. Is this the paintball arena?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
I'm an avid paintballer, so when I saw
that's why the
them,
paintball mask on the guy there, then totally the bike courier hat on that guy, and then they all had the dirt bike chest plates.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And trying to remember what I must have borrowed some prop or brought something back. I don't think I
really nothing.
Yeah.
Not even a Galactic Authority jacket.
That's what. No, I didn't.
Look up by my place. I got them all.
Okay, I'll trade you a Zat gun for it.
Yeah, excellent. Yeah, I'm sure you raided the Stargate storehouse. And there's speaking of craft service, Tori enjoying a snack between scenes.
Cool.
Yeah,
as a cool shot. Mm-hmm. Now, a question, just because what I do, how much would those cameras run? Like cost wise? Yeah.
As an that was an ARRI LT, I think, that we were using at the time there. So 250,000.
Good heavens.
200,000. Yeah. I mean, that's nothing. It's the lens packages that go with them that are like insanely expensive. The lenses I think are like 75,000, 100,000 each for.
You so got to talk your boss into that, Katie.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Totally worth it just to point it at a green screen.
Cool.
We always made sure everyone drank from only green cups and bottles so it could be easily removed.
Ooh,
Oh, that's
clever.
interesting. Oh my God, that's funny. I fell for that because I thought you didn't want to pull like a Game of Thrones. Remember when Daenerys got caught with that Starbucks coffee thing? That was
Star Wars
funny.
did it first. There was a Snickers bar on a what was it, on a space shuttle, on an alien space shuttle?
Stargate?
Yeah.
Yeah. It was a Snickers in the front of Shepard's the one where they're on the moon.
Yeah.
Not Earth's moon, the other moon.
Yeah.
That's funny. I didn't know that.
And then it was in an episode, and then visual effects had to go and paint it out. A future.
Yeah. We had a couple a cup that had to be painted on this one.
Well, there's
Andy in action.
Yeah.
And Dino, right behind him.
Yeah.
Those are some thick scripts.
Ooh, I like that
That's a cool
picture a lot.
Yeah.
And I mean, Ian Brock was all about the textures, walls.
That's a great promotional picture, John. How do you feel, Lauren? I'm not sure if you've seen it on Twitter. I don't know how often you're on Twitter, but how? I mean, when you hear fans talk about a Dark Matter season 4 or a miniseries or something, how do you feel about that?
Oh, I was pushing for that hard. I mean, I was so as soon as you're like sure of something, is usually when it falls away. So I was like, I think season 4. I was like, oh, we're totally doing season 4. Like, who would say no to season 4 of this? And that's of course when I was like, oh man.
It's like my network executive. That's who.
I don't want to put a name to it, but yeah, no, I hated having to stop doing the show, but you know, it's sci-fi. No one's ever dead. No show is ever dead.
You're willing to come out of You're willing to come out of retirement for Joe?
Oh yeah, my daughter is like, you know, only a year old. She's gonna get really sick of me soon. The only reason I'm still around is because she's a year and she can't talk. As soon as she can say like get away, then it's like I'll have to go back to work.
Okay. Oh, and by the way, guys, Matt Ryan, just the video he shared. This is the gun, the new weapon from Dark Matter that he's working on. So check that out.
Yeah, what is this? Which gun is it?
He did Bubba first.
Yeah.
Now he's working on something else.
I'm trying to remember, we had names for them all too. I remember for sure.
That's a nice picture.
They're actually smiling. I don't know if you can tell, but
yeah, you can see that they were just told you got to smile in this photo.
Yeah.
Joe, it was interesting how, and I meant to put up an image of this before. It was interesting how uncomfortable Five expressed herself in this episode, because she was like she knew like she wasn't part of the crew in this reality, and it was interesting.
I think it was also kind of a subconscious thing for her, in that I think she knows what fate befell her alternate counterpart. So
I thought you said she was fine. They gave her money.
This is just an assumption on her part. You know, just an assumption on her part.
And it really. Go ahead. Sorry.
No, that was it. She's always assuming the worst.
And I think it really does have to be addressed here that Joe really does create the moment here for where Six is saying there was no mind wipe. there was no 5, and that's why this crew is different.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought this was a very critical scene for the whole series, actually.
I see her as taking that one of two ways, and she chose the way to be a little bit more upset because in some regards, I took that as him trying to comfort her, saying, "You're such a great person. Look what you turned us into." And she took it as, "This is a dangerous place for me."
Yeah.
You know, instead of seeing the other side of it.
Mm-hmm. Well, you know, also I think these people are her family now, and just the thought of them being responsible for her counterpart's death is deeply troubling for her.
Mm.
All in all, what did you guys think about this episode? Katie, Nina, Dago, what did you guys think?
Oh, I love it.
Same. It was such a fun ride.
Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely. Absolutely.
Alternate realities. It's getting
Seeing
good.
Jace Corso again.
Yeah, and we'll see who came back. Who came back with them from the alternate universe.
Ooh.
Joe, do you have any closing comments that you would like to address?
No, I mean, this was one of my favorite episodes just because I love alternate universes and time travel are like two of my favorite things. And you know, we do the alternate universe here, and we'll be doing a couple of time travels in the not too distant future. But until then, you know, next week we have an episode written by Ivan Bartok that you know, answers a question: what the hell is up with 2?
Yay.
Good.
Wow.
And you know, we may be seeing another familiar face.
No.
Who knows?
Oh. Okay.
Wow. And let me put up this picture because I thought this was great. And I assume, Lauren, that you did this yourself. This is funny. We've been putting this out on Twitter, by the way.
Oh, it's like the point counterpoint one.
Yeah.
Oh my God, with Morbo. That's
Is it more? I think
hilarious.
it's like Gord, like Morbo. Yeah,
Yeah, it's Morbo.
Morbo says. Yeah. Again, see, just lots of fun on set and like just playing around. I can't believe how little gray hair I have there. Really goes to show what season 2 and 3 did to me.
Oh no.
Start of the animosity for twinning.
Lauren, do you want to remind us again? Now you're kind of on hiatus right now with being a dad.
Yeah, well, I mean, I was going to take a year. I was going to take a year off, and I was going to wait until like March of 2020 to start my next show. And luckily, I started a show right before that, and then the world shut down. So I was on Astronauts for about a year, because we kind of went right through the pandemic. And then sort of just sort of taking some time off now to be with my daughter, because you don't, when you're shooting and you got a lot of work hours, you don't really get too much time at home. So I'll once she's sort of settled in daycare and everything, I'll probably start back at it and see who wants to go to space next.
Nice.
Cool.
Take me with you.
One more question this question is for me. Now, being somebody so creative, are we ever going to see a Lauren inspired show that's just created by you?
You know, I am an aspiring writer, and Joe has given me the chance to stretch my wings and do that. I am still need a lot of work as a writer, as Joe can attest. But yeah, no, I mean, I started off actually, and even on this show, Joe let me direct a bunch of stuff, so second units and sort of stuff like that. So I'm trying to get a chance to continue to direct a bit of stuff and write stuff. But you know, to do my own show, no one can understand how hard it is to do your own show, to be a showrunner of a show where like everything stops with you. So I'll just let that be what drives Joe to his early grave, and I'll tag along.
Thank you, Lauren, so much for joining us. Thank you, Joe, for inviting Lauren. And thank you, Dega, Nina, Joe, Katie. I want to thank everybody in the chat. William Jackson, Susanna, Jeff Beeler, Kronos, Sound Engraver. Yes, you made it. Sarah Jett, Time Prophet, everybody, TT. Well, there's people just coming in right now. You guys, it's a great, watch the replay. It's a great interview. Tori Higginson pops up as well. Rapunzel, everybody, Dee Dee Myers, thank you everybody for joining us. Thank you for the super chats. You all be safe, and we will be back next week with episode 9, Dark Matter Season 2.
Sweet.
Awesome. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming.
Thanks for being here, Lauren.
Thank you.